What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about what to do to set up your camera for nighttime photography. So there's two ways you can shoot at night. The first way is using a tripod. So you can take your camera, put it on a tripod, all right? Make sure it's nice and secure, not moving at all right? It has to be very, very secure. So make sure you tighten everything on the tripod. The next thing you want to do is compose your shot. So move your camera around, find the exact spot that you want. Look through the viewfinder, zoom in and zoom out, okay? Now you're going to want to start with your camera on autofocus, okay? Look through the viewfinder and get the focus just right. Once you get your focus right, what you're going to want to do is then put your camera on manual focus, all right? So it's focused in on the image with autofocus, and then just switch that dial to manual focus, either on the lens or on the camera, depending on what you use. Once you get your camera just the way you want, the next thing you have to do is adjust your ISO. I recommend you move your ISO as low as possible, or to its native ISO. For me, in this camera, it's 200. Your camera might be 100 or 50, but just move it really low. You want it as low as possible when using a tripod. All right, now that you have your shot composed, you have your ISO as low as possible, the next thing you're gonna do is adjust the aperture, okay, or the f-stop. So this is completely arbitrary, all right? If you want a really shallow depth of field and only a tiny portion, just your subject in focus and the rest of the photo blurry and out of focus, choose a low f-stop number like f2.8, f4, f3.5, f1.8 if you have that. All right, once you choose your f-stop or your aperture, the next thing you want to do is just adjust your shutter speed. So just adjust your shutter speed until you get the right exposure that you want. So if it's too dark, you want to make the shutter a lot slower. For example, if your photo's dark at 1/125th of a second, you want to go down to maybe 1/30th of a second, or maybe even 1 second. Switch your camera to timer mode. So you go to timer mode where it's going to take several seconds to take a photo, all right? Then what you want to do is just click the shutter and then just wait, and it'll take a photo for you. That's all there is to it. Now here's the thing, if you're taking a picture where there's water or where there's cars or where there's something moving and you want that moving thing to be very blurry and have a nice soft or blurry kind of effect, what you want to do is change your shutter speed. You want to make your shutter speed much slower, so maybe at like 3 seconds or 5 seconds or even 10 or 15 seconds. This camera goes all the way up to 30 seconds, so you can try that too. However, when you shoot with a really slow shutter speed, you're gonna let in a lot of light. So then you're gonna have to probably change your aperture to something like f11 or something with much wider depth of field. So you're gonna have everything in focus. That's just the way it is. All right, so if you're shooting at like 2.8, you're gonna have to change that to at least like f8 or f11 or f16, depending on how it's exposed and how much slow shutter you really want to use. Okay, the second way is to get rid of the tripod. Just take off your camera, and for shooting at night just with handheld, you're gonna wanna change your ISO completely. So at nighttime when you're shooting handheld, the first thing you wanna do is raise the ISO to at least 800, all right? So put it at 800 as like a mark to see where it's at. And then you want to usually lower the aperture to the lowest F number you can, or around the lowest number. So that could be f1.4, f1.8, f2.8. I think f2.8 to f4 is a good range. So if you can do this on your camera, lower it down to f2.8 to f4, depending on which lens you're using. So after you do that, you want to change the shutter speed to be at least the same number as the length of your lens. So for example, if you're using a 50mm lens, you want the shutter speed to be at least 1/50th of a second or faster. If you're using a 200mm lens, you want the shutter speed to be at least 1/200th of a second or faster, okay? Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a picture, you're gonna see how it is. Most likely it's gonna be a little underexposed or dark. So then what you're gonna wanna do is raise the ISO up, all right? So you're gonna raise it from 800 to maybe 1600, maybe 3200, all right? And then you're gonna take the picture. Now, the thing about raising the ISO up, your images are gonna look a little grainy or not as sharp, okay? A little noisy. So that's why I recommend you use a tripod, because you can keep the ISO as low as possible. But sometimes, like on a full moon, or when it's not super dark outside and you're around a place where there are a lot of lights, you can shoot handheld. However, if it's really, really dark, I recommend you use a tripod. Alright guys, I hope this quick tutorial was helpful about how to set up your camera to shoot at nighttime. I'll be doing a much longer tutorial about how to shoot at night in the near future. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. You can also get my free ebook that gives you all my favorite gear with examples, explanations, etc. right over here. And also you can see more of my videos right over here. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video.